everyone. Welcome to WSAZ Plus on this Monday evening. I'm Taylor Eaton, getting you caught up on some of the headlines of today. Some of the big headlines that we will have for you at 10 and 11. That way, in case you can't join us, you can still get caught up on all of the happenings around the tri-state today. So on that note, we are going to get right to it here. We have a bit of breaking news that just came in a couple of hours ago, and we have a picture back from the scene that I can share with you here. A house fire in Huntington. This was reported just before 7 o'clock tonight, so we'll go over the details that we have from our crew there on scene speaking with the Huntington Fire Department. There was a family home when this fire started, and you see there's some pretty significant damage there at the attic area where the firefighter is in the picture up by that ladder. The family home, but able to make it out okay after their home caught fire just this evening. It started before 7 o'clock at a home along Hollywood Place. To give you a little better perspective of where that is, it's just off of Rotary Road in Huntington. According to the Huntington Fire Department, there at the scene, flames were shooting out of the windows of this home when they first got there. According to the fire department, they said it was a quick response. They had this fire under control in about 15 minutes of getting to the house, but they did tell us that flames were coming from the windows, and that fire ended up spreading to the attic of this home. When we asked about a cause, firefighters said they were still early on in their investigation, just working to get that fire under control at that point. That's something they're going to work to figure out here in the next couple of hours. So we'll let you know if we hear about a cause of this one, but thankfully the family okay, able to make it out of this home tonight. All right, our next headline this evening that we will get to is a real interesting one, and this one dates back more than a decade. Now there's kind of a renewed push for information in a case of skeletal remains that were first found in 2014 in Kanawha County. And let me share some of that new video with you because they've released some pictures of what they believe this person was wearing, maybe some identifying factors, because they're now working to try to figure out who this person was, maybe get in touch with family, and to figure out exactly what happened to this person. So on that note, let me share those pictures with you as we talk about this story. And just very interesting circumstances surrounding this one. These skeletal remains, though, first discovered more than 10 years ago, and this case has gone cold, and that's kind of why there's this renewed push from the Kanawha County Sheriff's Office, hoping that someone would see these images, these pieces of clothing, and hear the details and think, you know what, this could have been my loved one, and will come forward, and hopefully they can bring some closure to this family. And investigators are hoping there's a major clue in this case into who this person was that just could crack it wide open. The remains were first found under a bridge in the Clendenin area of Kanawha County in August of 2014. Sergeant Jeremy Burns of the Kanawha County Sheriff's Office says at that point, though, leads went cold, and they really didn't have a lot of information that could help them in the case. So they ended up sending those remains off to the Smithsonian Institute in D.C. for a deeper analysis. And a few months later, investigators said they kind of came back with some more information as to maybe who this person was. And now they have even more information they think could help them in this case. So here's what we're talking about. They say this person is a man. They think he was about 5'5", maybe 45 to 55 years old. But they said there's one other crucial clue in this case. They said clearly this guy had underwent a major medical procedure. They discovered a titanium plate attached to his skull to relieve pressure due to some sort of traumatic event. And that's what investigators are hoping, that someone out there that's listening or watching, that maybe this is your loved one, that you think, oh, I remember years and years ago, so-and-so in the family had that kind of a procedure done. If this sounds familiar at all to you, the Kanawha County Sheriff's Office is now kind of opening this up and turning to the public and saying, hey, we really need your help in this. And they say even the smallest bit of information could help them to bring closure to someone's family because they don't know who this guy is. They just have remains, and they have some of those pieces of clothing and some other identifying factors here in the pictures that we're sharing with you that they're hoping will kind of open this case back up for them and be able to bring some closure some 10 plus years after this man was discovered. Next tonight, we have several stories that we're following tonight as far as the education system goes at 10 and 11. And we'll start here with the first one, a big, massive cut announcement coming within one of the biggest districts in the region. Let me pull up some points here so that way when we talk about this, I can share that with you. Let's see here. There we go. All right. So we're talking about the Kanawha County School District announcing today 140 jobs in the school system are on the chopping block for the 2026-2027 school year. School officials making that announcement earlier today that 140 positions in the district are going to be cut. Officials say mostly the factor here that is most at play for them having to make this really tough choice is the fact that they're noticing a big decline in enrollment across the district, saying funding will not be available for those positions, mainly due to that factor for the 26-27 school year. According to the district, there were 970 fewer students when they compared this year's numbers to last year's numbers. Now, so far, there hasn't been a lot of specific information released to us as far as where those cuts are going to be made, what positions, what departments, at what schools in the county. That is something that we are going to be asking about in the days and the weeks to come, especially at that next Board of Education meeting. We'll work to try to get some more information and some clarity as to what positions. But this was just announced today, 140 positions on the chopping block for the 2026-2027 school year in Kanawha County. Our next story tonight dealing with education, another one of our large districts in West Virginia, Cabell County, searching for its next superintendent of schools. And they held a meeting about that today in Cabell County, kind of starting the process for the search for that new superintendent. The current superintendent, Tim Hardesty, he is set to retire in July. So we wish him well in that next chapter. But in the meantime, the school board is now left looking for some candidates to try to fill his role within the district as the head of the Cabell County school system. So we spoke with officials today, and they said they really want to find candidates within the Cabell County School District that know the district well and will have the best interest of students and staff in mind as they accept that position. So right now they are currently accepting candidate submissions, and they're doing that until February 28th. So we have 12 more days now from today that they're going to be accepting those, saying they are planning to review those candidates at the Board of Education meeting on March 3rd. And it wouldn't be long after that that they would hope to then make their selection for the new superintendent of Cabell County Schools as their current superintendent sets off for retirement. So that's one that we're going to be following. I know a lot of parents are very interested in that one to see who will be leading the district in the years to come. So we'll be following that story for you, and we'll keep you posted with the very latest as we learn it from the district as they start that interviewing process, looking at candidates, and then make that final selection. Today is a very tough anniversary for a lot of families. It was this day a year ago that so many lives were changed in just such a short amount of time. Remember, it was over a weekend. It was Saturday and Sunday. And I remember so many of us coming into work because our meteorologists were saying there was a major flooding event that was setting up over parts of the tri-state, some of the hardest hit areas in eastern Kentucky and in southern West Virginia. And there were so many people that lost their lives in that flooding, lots of others that lost their homes and their businesses. I remember Tim and I reporting in Pikeville, Kentucky. There was a whole stretch there in Coal Run Village, and it was eye-opening to see as we were driving in. I just remember that unforgettable smell of mud, and then seeing all of the standing water because the waters came down pretty quick. I remember when we got there the day after, but the aftermath is still so evident in lots of parts of the region. The rebuilding is still taking place here a year later, but we visited with a couple of business owners today. Their names Greg and Tammy Tackett, and Andrew visited with them a year ago, and this is what it looked like for them. Just a whole lot of mud and standing water, and they said that basically everything in their businesses was destroyed. They said there really wasn't a lot that they could salvage, and at that point, we're left wondering, where do we go from here? But Andrew said that when he interviewed Greg and Tammy, they said giving up was never an option for us. They said we felt so compelled to clean up and to overcome and to rebuild better than before in this area. And it was interesting because Andrew even said that a lot of volunteers that came in to help them in the cleanup in the days and the weeks and the months after have actually come on as employees at their businesses, which I think is so wonderful. But their businesses were alone 23 just north of Pikeville, and that's where the video that you're seeing right now, that's where a lot of these businesses are, and so many of them were underwater just within a matter of hours. And it's just so nice to see that a lot of these businesses have been able to reopen. They're welcoming customers again. We know, sadly, there were lots of families that weren't able to do that. A lot of families had to leave and go elsewhere. Others are still waiting for help today, but it was a year since that devastating flooding, and it is a year. And it's one event that so many people there say they will just never forget. Lots of businesses and homes destroyed in Kentucky and West Virginia. In Pike County alone, 23 homes destroyed, lots more with major damage. The county's emergency management director says there are still people to this day that are in temporary housing units. And at Weddington Plaza, and that's what you're seeing right here, in Coal Run, the work is still underway to get a lot of those businesses up and running again. The Coal Run mayor telling us that building hasn't been as quick as they had hoped for, that they would have liked to seen that process go a little bit quicker. But he says the majority of businesses are expected to reopen by springtime in this stretch. And the mayor also says, a big part of this is peace of mind for people, hoping that this never happens to them again, that they're never underwater and under mud, and that they can live peacefully knowing that their homes are going to be okay and their businesses are going to be okay. And the mayor says that the flood wall that broke last year, that's almost finished being rebuilt. So that's another layer in this to try to provide families peace of mind. But I think it speaks to just the people in our area, how resilient they are and how willing in circumstances and major natural disasters like this, how willing people are to give of their time so freely, to just say, what can I do to help out? And we saw that, the goodness of people opening up their hearts in so many different ways to try to help out. And they're still doing that till this day, because the rebuilding is still taking place, even here a year later, and will be in the days and the weeks and the months and years ahead. But that's an update at least on some of those businesses and some of those homeowners that are trying to get back to life as normal as they can in the aftermath of that flooding event. So 1 year ago today, it was a much different story that we were talking about here on WSAZ, but it's so nice even in what was such a dark time to see that there are lots of people that decided to stay and to do what they could to try to help that area rebuild. Next tonight, following some happenings at the West Virginia State Capitol, and this is dealing with a pay proposal for some state workers and for West Virginia State Police. So we'll talk about that here as we pull up some video as we chat about this one. The House Finance Committee has fast-tracked a bill that would give teachers and West Virginia State Police a pay raise. That bill proposing an average of 3% pay raise, as Governor Patrick Morrisey announced in December. We spoke today with the presidents of the state's teacher union, Education West Virginia, and the West Virginia Troopers Association. They all said that, yes, they believe this proposed raise is a start, but they also said that they were looking for more. Lonnie Faircloth, who is the president of the Troopers Association, saying he feels that raise does not offset added costs, such as the rising premiums for state employees for the insurance program PEIA. Dale Lee, the co-president of Education West Virginia, saying he expected a 5% proposal rather than a 3%. Governor Morrissey has also proposed a pay raise for all other state employees. That proposal is in his budget, which is also going through the legislature. So we're going to keep you posted on both pieces of legislation as they progress through the session. So that's a look at a lot of the big stories that we're following for you here on WSAZ tonight. Some of the headlines that we will have for you at 10 and 11. It has been a busy day, lots to get to, lots to talk about. So we were happy to bring you some of those here on WSAZ Plus. As always, a reminder, you can get your headlines on your time here on WSAZ Plus on any streaming device like Roku or anywhere that you get WSAZ. And you can also watch with us online on WSAZ.com. For now, though, I'm WSAZ's Taylor Eaton. Appreciate you being here on this Monday night, everyone. I hope all of you have a great rest of your evening. And if you can't join us at 10 and 11, always remember I'm here at about 9 o'clock each night with your headlines of the evening. So you can tune in with us tomorrow, same time, same place, as we get you caught up on Tuesday's headlines. Thank you so much for watching here on WSAZ Plus, everyone. Have a great rest of your evening.